Hello and welcome back. I hope you guys have been having an amazing week. Starting of the week, honestly. And I hope you guys had an amazing new moon that was last week, Friday, I suppose. So, today I wanted to talk about things which might feel very triggering to a lot of you. But at the end of the day, it all makes sense, okay? It all does. So, of late, I have been in a situation where I have been very critical of myself and I have been very, why am I not doing this? Why am I not hyper productive? Why am I not hyperactive? And I realized that somewhere or the other that was because I was really hard on myself. I was really dissatisfied with the way things were going and I blamed myself for all of it. No matter how many times I escaped to believe this, that I was blaming myself, I was. And it is not an easy realization because when you are literally owning up, making those boundaries with other people who always blame you for things that you're not blamed to be for, and you end up realizing that you yourself have been blaming yourself for so long, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to stay strong on your grounds and be like, you know what, I'm healing. I'm on my healing journey and I've been healing for a very long time. All of those rationalities just take a cake and they go away, honestly. And you end up feeling like, what do I do? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? Am I even good enough for this? And honey, I realized this, that nobody can ever tell you what you're good enough for. Not those institutions where you give money to study, to get your skills upgraded. Not your own parents, and not even the people you feel are the closest to you. Because nobody at the end of the day is living your life through your lens. Everybody has their own perspectives, everybody has their own understandings of things, right? And sometimes you just have to relive certain decisions of your past in different ways for you to know that this is a pattern that you have been reeling into, right? So this video is for all the people who feel that you guys are in a limbo, you guys don't know where your life is headed, you guys don't know what to do next in your life. I'm at the same position, trust me. So I know what you're going through and I know how it feels because this is not the first time that this is happening with me. This is almost the 7th or the 8th time where I'm going through this major ego death and realizing a lot of things about me, a lot of ways that I had were not in alignment with the person I'm becoming. And it's very important to remember, the person you want to become on your journey of healing. Because you do resort to a lot of your past patterns because they are comfortable to you and you can't help it. I mean, I could not help it either. No matter how long you have been into healing, you will see yourself, you will see your subconscious, you will see your ego choose that comfort it once felt and it resonates with. Because that is something it knows how to react to, it knows how to deal with, even if that means toxic partners, toxic job, toxic workplaces, toxic relationships, even with yourself. If that relationship is toxic, trust me, you are being called to change it. Because if you're seeing this video, this is the third attempt of mine because the last two videos that I made randomly jumped to slow-mo on its own from the very important message that I was going to, get through. At that very point, it just became slow-mo. It got a 54-minute video timing and I was like, oh my god, what is happening? How can it happen? But yeah, anyhow, coming back to the topic, sometimes you just have to realize that you are the only person who is reviewing yourself as hard as you think. Because nobody else, you're not the sun around whom all the others are roaming about as planets, right? Yes, you are a human. Yes, you make mistakes. Yes, you get judged by others. But till the time you don't realize that you judging your own self is the pinnacle point of your misery, things will not change. Never. Because at the end of the day, no matter how much we want to blame others for judging us, we know that deep within ourselves, we knew we would be judged like that, and we did it irrespective of that judgment because we were like, who cares? But when that judgment gets so strong, not just outside of you, but even inside of your head, it becomes really difficult for you to see through your decisions. When we fail at things, when we think that we have everything we want, and then we realize we see ourselves failing again and again, we tend to associate that failure with a very negative emotion of not being good enough. Because that is what we were told ever since our childhood, right? That if we fail at something, we are not cut out for that. But we were never taught that if we fail at something, it is our opportunity to course correct ourselves and reach to the goal that we have set for ourselves. I mean, giving my own example, ever since my childhood, I was told that failure means you are not good enough for that and you should not do that. So I failed at so many things and I gave up on them so many times, like just like that, because I was like, I failed at it. I don't know how to do it. But I never thought that I have failed at it. Yes, I have failed at it. I did commit mistakes, but they were just mistakes. They don't define my character, they don't define who I am, but they define how my actions were not in alignment with what I was seeking for. And this shift, no matter how many times you listen to it from others, no matter how many times you read it on paper, till the time you don't do it and practice with your own self, things will never change. You will keep on jumping from one thing to another, and you will keep on believing that, oh my god, that one failure that happened at that one point and that one thing that I was so passionate about, if that did not work out, how can anything else in my life work out? How can I even think of it, right? I mean, that's irrational. That's very difficult to actually stand up and be like, yeah, that's irrational of me to just believe that one failure at this and it's all over. Maybe you need to realize this, that if you really want something, if you're really determined to get that thing for yourself, no matter how many times you fail, you will bounce back, because you know that that failure is not defining your capacity or your capability of having or living or embodying your dream, but that failure is just showing you where you fall short of still in this time in order for you to fulfill that dream. Therefore, you rewire, you take different steps that take you closer to your dream. And this is very difficult to even say, because I mean, for the past 2-3 weeks, all I've been doing is sleeping and like making the worst of decisions, and I have been very critical with myself for that. Even right now, when I say worst of decisions, it is something that my inner voice can't handle, like my ego cannot believe in, because I have never been this soft with myself. I let myself sleep, I let myself sleep as much as I wanted, and I let myself take that much needed break, because I realized throughout, people who resonate with this message, who feel that they are in a void, who feel that they have been in a limbo, they realize that all of this misery, all of this pain, all of these things that we were going through, we never gave ourselves the time to process it. Even if we heard, even if we listened, even if we learned about it, we did everything that was to be done on pen and paper. We never gave ourselves the time, we never gave our body the time to realize that, you have this space to feel it. We are a safe space for you to take it all out. And studies show that your body always keeps account. No matter what trauma it is, no matter what emotion it is stored in your body. Until the time you don't give your body the time to heal, like you give your mind the time to heal, how will you ever heal? How will you ever go beyond that particular phase of, oh my god, Am I even good at it? Because I don't know. I can't do anything to get over it. I love to make these voices. I love to just like bring humor in it because I feel like at the end of the day, if I'm not humoring my own self, how can I humor anybody else? That's cute. That's cute. Let's get back. So yeah, like you have to give yourself the space and the time to commit those mistakes to realize where you were wrong. And if you're critical with yourself, if you're telling yourself that, oh my god, how could I do this? Oh my god, I did so much, I knew so much, and yet I did this. How was I capable of doing it? Honey, there's no question of capability here. The main question here is, why are you talking to yourself the way you're talking right now? Because if anybody around you made that mistake, you would not be this harsh. You would be like, it's okay. Everything takes time. Take time. Feel it. We love you. We are there for you. What happens to that voice when you talk to yourself when you commit a mistake, or when you know you're committing a mistake, or when you know you've committed a mistake and you failed miserably? Why can't you be that understanding with yourself? You know why? At least for me, I know why. I could not be that soft with myself because I believe that if I'm soft with me, I will not achieve what I want to achieve. I will not work on what I want to achieve, because if I'm soft with myself, then though I will lay back. I'll just be like, that thing, oh yeah, that I can do. Oh, that thing I missed at, but now I know better ways to do it. But you don't ever end up doing it. Even though you tell yourself you know it, you don't do it because your inner voice is like, don't you remember the fuckery you made out of it the last time you worked on it? Have you lost your mind? You really want to do it and you don't do it. You sabotage yourself. All the imperfections become your irrational fears. You start living in the either's or or's, and you take in the worst possible scenarios. It's either this or that. The scenarios which will never even come true, your brain goes there, your ego brings in that, because what if that happens? It needs to be safe, it needs to have a plan. Honey, if you're wasting so much of your time planning about something that is not gonna happen, or you know it's very like bleak to even happen, when are you giving yourself the time to actually plan things that you want to do, that you know will happen, that you know is at least a 50% chance of happening? Like, where is that time going? Yeah, that's like a few of the messages that I wanted to get out, because I have been in the same circle, and I believe that these messages, these realizations that I have been having will resonate with a lot of you out there, because trust me, this year has been weird. This year has all been about cleansing yourself of toxic relationships, cleansing yourself of toxic bonds, thought process, beliefs, and whatnot. And in realizing these also, and realizing this thing that I am the biggest critique of myself, and I am the only one viewing myself so critically and no one else, I realize that I am not the sun around which everybody is revolving. No, I mean, if I'm taking so much time to think about myself as an individual, others are doing the same. They are taking time to think about themselves, and they are acting from a point of their own insecurities, right? So instead of making them feel bad about them making you feel bad, it is just as simple like, you know what? I think that this thing that you said was disrespectful because I felt disrespected. I am not saying you meant it intentionally or you did it intentionally, but it hurt me. And even in doing this, even in putting up this boundary, you will face a lot of you're too weak, you're too emotional, you're too sensitive. Honey, you might be too emotional, you might be too sensitive, you might be too weak. But who are they to tell you who you are? If they are saying all of these things, you can just be like, honey, I feel you're too what, insensitive, your emotional intelligence is low. Like, bro, if it's supposed to be a fight, make it a fight. Don't take things personally, because you know when you say shit like that, you don't mean it. Because within an hour of those conversations, you just go like, I did not even mean it. I was just, I was just angry. Okay, you might be just angry, but realize this: when you say these things and you don't mean it, when others say those things, even they don't mean it. They can say shit about you, but until and unless you believe it to be true, it won't be true. And please stop associating words like delusional, emotional, sensitive with negative connotations, because there's nothing negative in it. Being emotional is actually a big strength, because it helps you have healthier relationships, not with just yourself, but with also the people around you, right? And the best thing about being delusional here is that you are delusional for your life. You are delusional about what you desire to bring to reality. You are not delusional about what your capacity is and what your capability is. And even if you're delusional about your capacity and capability, nobody else has the right to tell you that it's negative, that it's stupid, that it's not right. Until and unless that's a trusted individual, and that is an individual that you can blindly trust on. For me, that's only my life coach, my mentor, my spiritual mentor. Apart from her, I don't let anybody tell me who I am. I don't let anybody else define who I am. I used to let others define me very easily until 2021. But yeah, I realized the more you give away your power of being who you are to somebody else, when they start telling you who you are and how you are, honey, it's a miserable life you're going to live, because you're never going to feel fulfilled. You're always going to be living for their validation. And yeah, like, in this point where you are critical of yourself and you're like supremely critical that how could you do these things, realize that half of this criticism is coming in anticipation of the criticism that you will be getting from the outside world. Because you know the kind of validation they give you, you know how you will be judged, you know how things will happen, and therefore you end up doing that with yourself. So the next time you see yourself judging your own self from the view of someone else, just stop and be like, this is not me. This is something I learned, this is something I picked up, but this no longer resonates with me. So thank you for bringing this side out of me, and I completely appreciate it. And then take a different path to it. Like, literally acknowledge, be grateful, and then take the action. It does help. It helps you a lot. And yeah, like, regarding this particular topic of dopamine, which I feel is very important for all of you to know. Dopamine is a hormone that our brain releases when we are in anticipation of something. Therefore, you might have seen when you are working towards something, you're so excited, yet so scared, and yet you work towards it. It is because of the dopamine rush that you're getting. But once you attain that goal that you have set for yourself, I mean, even you know what I'm going to say next. The moment you get it, your dopamine strikes down. Your dopamine goes like, whoop. Why? Because you've already received it. The work of dopamine is done. The work of dopamine is to make you feel really excited about the anticipation of having something. Therefore, most of us use our dopamine in a very negative way, where we go like, I really want to work for my dopamine rush. What is your dopamine rush? What do you mean by dopamine rush? Like, literally, what do you mean by that? Oh, anyhow, so yeah, like, if you're working for that dopamine rush, honey, it's not really a rush or the dopamine rush that you're working towards. It's just the instant gratification that you have been looking for. Okay? So it's okay if you are in a place where you have nothing that you feel is worthwhile, that you feel is productive. It is time you might want to redefine those particular terms for yourself, because no moment in your life can ever be when you're unproductive. Trust me. There is no point in your life where you will be unproductive, because every breath that you're taking, even your body is changing. Your dead cells are just like being removed. Your dead skin is being removed. You shed, you take time, you rejuvenate, you rebirth. But most importantly, you give yourself that time. We are human because we are supposed to enjoy, we are supposed to live all the emotions, be it pain, aggression, grief, sadness, happiness, joy, all of it. And when you're too harsh with yourself, you're too critical with yourself, the journey just becomes more difficult. I mean, who else is going to make your journey easier for you other than you? Right? So, yeah, that's it for today. Do read into the dopamine rush thing, because it's kind of very important. It helped me a lot with making those micro shifts in my day, which I did not initially, right? And also read about the serotonin and oxytocin. I have a very hard time pronouncing these hormones, but they play a very important role. So yeah, go read about them. And the next video I'm going to record about emptiness, and how emptiness is just disappointing others and not meeting others' expectations that you set for yourself. So yeah, see you in the next video. Have an amazing day.